Good afternoon. This is Robert Harper with Virginia Farm Bureau's Grain Division. Thankful and glad to bring you the Merchandiser Minute today for Friday, May the 6th, 2022. Let's take a look at how the futures markets closed out the week. July corn this week down 29 cents to close at $7.84. December corn, your new crop contract, down 31 cents for the week to close at $7.20. Looking at soybeans, the July futures contract was down 62 cents for the week to close at $16.22. November soybeans down 44 cents for the week. Your new crop contract to close at $14.70 a bushel. And looking at your September wheat contract, what most of y'all will be selling your new crop wheat off of, September wheat up 51 cents a bushel for the week to close at $11.09. Lots of volatility again this week. That's the broken record here over the last 18 months, and more of the same, and going to be more of the same next week. Let's take a look at a few of the headlines that sparked that futures trade this week and had also had impacts on the basis trade for you as well. We had much of the Corn Belt experiencing a lot of wet weather this week, not a lot of planting progress coming into the week. National Ag Statistics said on Monday 14% of the U.S. corn crop was planted. 5-year average is 33%. They also told us on Monday, National Ag Statistics did, that the U.S. soybean crop was 8% planted and the normal would be on the 5-year average 13%. So those much anticipated numbers really showed that the big start to this year's planting has not yet gotten underway yet, and that was supportive to future price action early in the week. When we look at the Virginia-centric numbers, Virginia corn came in at 66% planted as of Sunday, 54% of the 5-year average. A lot of you all got some more in the ground this week around these rain events, and I know a lot of y'all are still waiting to get going good, hoping for rain here this afternoon and over the weekend. So Virginia corn, 66% planted. Virginia beans came in at 8%. And Virginia wheat crop was rated 63% good to excellent. So I think this is the third week in a row that we've seen a slight decline in the good to excellent rating on the wheat crop. Whether that's coming from some cold that we've had or dry conditions, I don't know, but we'll see. Surging dollar this week, that was a big story. If I'm reading the continuous chart right and listening correctly, the dollar futures index hit a 19-year high this week, 104.1 on the index. That normally, in normal times, would mean headwinds to exports, but with everything going on in the world right now, I'm not so sure that even the dollar getting this high as a safe haven investment by investors is going to have a lot of headwind or negative impact on U.S. exports with everything that's going on in the world. Zero tolerance COVID policy. There's been so much written and spoken about that in China. Really for a month now, there's millions of people in many cities that are under strict lockdowns. Big cities, medium-sized cities, small cities, that's having an impact on their economy. A lot was written about Monday's sell-off in the crude oil markets as related to speculators thinking about what it would mean to have a big recession in the Chinese economy, as they are the largest importer of crude oil in the world. But again, it's all about headline-driven news. It's all about headline-driven trade. And we saw a sell-off based on that type of mentality or thinking about China's economy on crude oil. But then turning around, we saw futures rally back as the European Union made multiple comments about weaning themselves from Russian oil products, whether it's oil or gas, by the end of calendar year 2022. And that got future price going upward again, but it got price, it looks like, going upward more at the pump. I don't know about the correlation between futures and what you and I pay at the pump, but boy, here in Virginia, all across Virginia, we've seen dramatic increases since Thursday of last week till today. The highest prices that we've heard at the pump around the state, $4.25 a gallon for gas and $5.70 a gallon for diesel fuel. We're going to keep our eye on that. More about the headline-driven trade. We saw early this week news coming out of India that they would be restricting wheat exports. Wheat went up 30 cents, up sharply in the overnight trade over that news, then to find out a day later that the Indian government said that news story, they denied it, that it wasn't true. So again, we have to be so careful of what we read, what we watch. There's a lot of information flowing fast, and it's having big impacts on the futures price on lots of these commodities, and even ones we don't pay that much attention to. It makes it even more important for the ones we do pay attention to and make our livelihood off of, to have those marketing plans written down in place and your wish orders in with your buyers. We did see information this week, a lot more about the La Nina weather pattern switching to El Nino. We'll be reading about that more. I'd encourage you to look into that for yourself. But back in that story up, more numbers coming out of Brazil about how good their double crop corn crop is. The rains that they're getting are very timely here in the reproduction phase. So Brazilian corn crop, second crop, safrinha crop looks really good. Looking at inspections this week, China and Mexico were our top destinations. We exceeded what the trade had expected on corn inspections, and we were below what the trade was expecting this week on beans and wheat. A similar split type story on sales. China and Mexico were our top buyers for the week. Corn came in as expected on number of metric tons sold. Beans came in above expectation, and wheat came in as expected. Ethanol report, again, this trajectory, this line of going down on stocks, we had just ever so slightly of a drawdown this week, 0.3%, 23.8 million barrels. Production up just slightly, 0.6%, 969,000 barrels per day. On the Ukrainian front, a lot of news this week from Ukraine and Ukraine's ag minister. They officially closed the Black Sea ports this week, and obviously that's an official announcement on paper, but it is symbolic. They would close those ports due to the war. They also said that they have enough food currently in their country to feed their people, and they have enough fertilizer in their country to get spring planting, a percentage of it done. We'll just have to wait and see what that percentage will be when they're all said and done. But going back to that India story about what was right and what was wrong over that country limiting wheat exports, and going back to Ukraine making statements about the amount of food that they have. Again this week, a lot more written about food protectionism in the media, and we're just going to have to watch that going forward. We're reminded constantly about how politics impacts your futures price. We're reminded how volatility is impacting everything we do. We saw the Federal Reserve this week at their meeting announced that they would be making a 0.5 point hike on the benchmark interest rate. One day we had the Dow Futures Index up 900 points. The next day we had it trade down 1,000 points. So lots of volatility. I think the NASDAQ even fell farther. So we'll see it go up, we'll see it go down. We know we're prepared for that in all areas of your business and all areas of your lives. And again, part of that means having that plan in place for your new crop marketing, as well as cleaning up all those old crop bushels. Basis in Virginia is weakening in many locations on corn as destinations are full or near full. If you have old crop corn still in the bin, give Josie or I a call. We would like to help you get that locked in, at least the basis locked in the delivery month. And we can also talk to you about what percentage that you're priced on your new crop corn and new crop soybeans. Next week, we're going to be watching for planting progress. Obviously, the war information, politics information will be having a big impact, but we need to see what type of planting progress we get done here in North America. And remember, Thursday of next week, May the 12th, we'll get a supply and demand and a crop production report. So please give Josie or I a call if we can talk to you directly and help you. This is Robert at Virginia Farm Bureau's Grain Division.